This is the Outeniqua Transport Museum in George, South Africa. Located in the heart of the picturesque garden route, this museum offers a unique and immersive experience of the region's railway and road history, showcasing a vast collection of vintage vehicles, locomotives, and other transport-related artifacts. This place is massive, and the museum is housed in a former locomotive shed which was built in 1932, which all adds an authentic atmosphere to the exhibits. There's also interactive displays and models that illustrate the evolution of transport in the region, from the first ox wagons to modern highways. The museum is open to the public, and the best part of it is that entry is free. So the next time you're in the George area, grab the opportunity to come and view this incredible and magnificent collection. A special or arranged trip from afar is highly recommended. You will certainly not be disappointed. One of the most striking displays in the museum is a collection of steam locomotives, some of them which date back to the early 1900s. Giants of the rails. The museum also houses the last surviving Victoria-class locomotive in the world. This was used along the garden route in the early 1900s. It is just such a special experience walking amongst these giants, these marvels of engineering of the days gone by, which was once an everyday occurrence and in use every day all over the country, now only to be found here. Very special indeed. Each one of these different in appearance, design, and purpose. The museum also has a large collection of scale model locomotives and trains. I don't really have favorites, but man, the Canadian Brill car, that just does it for me. The Art Deco lines, shape, the trim on it, I want, I need. The museum also has a few trucks. They were used by the South African railways for workers and equipment. Others were used for the transporting of goods, and the earliest one being the 1929 Thornycroft stake truck. They also have a good variety of horse-drawn carts that were used for different applications. This include an old ambulance and even a hearse. And then there's a decent collection of fire trucks, always nice to look at. Their ladders, their lights, and their bells. Right back to the early days of where the firemen operated them and had to run with and pull these behind them to get to the fire as quick as possible. And then there's also a very cool old Chevy ambulance. Another favorite is the great collection of cranes that they have on display. These were used for different applications in either maintaining or building the railroad. Industrial art at its best, with its beautiful gears, chains, hooks, and pulleys. Back in the day, these were just ordinary hard-working machines and equipment. And today, we marvel at their design, engineering, functionality, and beauty. It just doesn't get better than this. and the only thing that would top it would be to see these in action. They have also built a replica of an old station master's office with all the period correct furniture and items that you would have found in the station master's office back in the day. Their vast collection of coaches beautifully showcases transport and travelling by rail back in the day for all various classes. This was travelling in style, at its finest and best. A long forgotten mode of transport, but here you are beautifully reminded as to what it was like to travel and transport by rail. First class dining, sleeping compartments, and lounges. There's nothing that could or would be travelling like this. The local Eden Lions Club also hosts events and special occasions inside the museum. This place is vast, and you'll find displays all over of transportation items, memorabilia, and paraphernalia. They have a great collection of items that you would have found in and around the old stations. From vending machines, furniture, and clocks to keep you on time. They also showcase a great collection of old plaques. These are all from the old government railways and companies that were operating the railroads. Back in the day, there was no centralized railroad organization, and the various areas and routes were operated by different companies. This collection not just covers South, but Southern Africa. Transport was big business, and achievers were awarded with plaques and trophies, which this museum has a magnificent collection of. These trophies and plaques are art pieces in their own right. Certainly only the best of the best were deserving of these magnificent plaques and trophies. These were not just awarded for technical, mechanical, or business, but also for recreational skills. There's display cases with artifacts everywhere. Vast areas with model trains, furniture, and other items. And a beautiful display of old locomotive plaques on the wall. There's also a large number of items and equipment that were used at the stations, in the workshops, and along the tracks. They also have a few inspection and maintenance cars on display, and these were used in between the running of trains to do maintenance work and inspection. And again, in amongst all the other big items, just displays everywhere of absolutely beautiful railroad paraphernalia. Another one of my favorites is this extremely rare locomotive scale. This scale was used to weigh the locomotive whilst on the tracks. This scale was supplied to the Cape Government Railways on special order by H. Pooley and Son. This is one of those I'll swap my kidney kind of items. One of the great things about the cars and vehicles that are on display here is that they are privately owned, which means that every time you visit, you'd see something different. There's a wide variety of cars and vehicles on display, so there's something for everybody. And another nice thing to know is that these cars are taken out every now and again to be driven and enjoyed. Then there's also a dedicated building for the Outeniqua Railway Society, and this predominantly is home to their large collection of model trains. And a few nice reminders on the wall of our old bullet train and the very famous blue train. And then there's also a smaller section dedicated to marine and shipping memorabilia. The collection is small but impactful. Here you'll see items like a ship's binnacle, ship's propeller, steering or navigation wheel, and the famous breakwater dolos. The items on display here are excellent examples of their kind and would have any private collector drooling. What's nice about this place is that you can get up close to these locomotives, and a few of them you're even allowed to get inside to have the full experience of what it would have been like to be a locomotive driver or to be part of the crew. These things are absolutely beautiful inside. It might have been frowned upon back in the day to be a locomotive or a train driver, but man, let me tell you, these guys had one of the coolest jobs ever. I've always been fascinated by the amount of design, engineering, hard labor, and skill that went into making this colossal giant with hundreds, perhaps thousands of moving parts move so effortlessly and smooth. And then on top of it, all that beautiful old patinaed brass. My weak heart. The Outeniqua Transportation Museum, a must on your list of places to visit.